Welcome to Just Break Up, the podcast about love, heartbreak, and all the relationship advice you don't want to hear. My name is Sierra DeMulder.
And I'm Sam Blackwell. And today we're going to be answering a letter from somebody who is jealous, but doesn't want to be. But before we begin, we just want to give you our Surgeon General's warning, which is that Sierra and I are not licensed mental health practitioners.
No, we are not professionals in any way whatsoever. We're just two people with microphones, so please take our advice as you see fit. We're only here to offer our humble musings to hopefully shed some understanding and maybe some laughs about the incredibly rewarding, but mostly confusing experience that is love.
All right, let's get into today's letter. This letter comes from Jealous and I Don't Want to Be, whose pronouns are she, her, who is writing from the void. Hello, my lovely friends. I am writing to you about a curious situation I have in my relationship that I would like your thoughts on. TLDR, my boyfriend Jack, 30, he, him, has gotten really close with our mutual friend's girlfriend, and I am triggered. For some background, Jack and I have been dating for 3 years. We were actually introduced by our friend Jace, he, him. Jace and I met through Tinder and flirted for a bit before a really gaslighty ending, but I've moved past it because he's a pretty decent arm's length friend. The main hang-up I have with him is that he and I had a rough weekend friend trip about a year ago, and a few months after, at a luncheon, he apparently spent a good 2 hours shit-talking me to Jack. Jack said he was furious, but didn't say anything to him about his choice of ranting partners. He's too much of a pacifist to invoke that kind of conflict. I was kind of hurt that he didn't stand up for me, but he also said that he didn't agree on anything, and one of their bandmates told Jace to shove it because he was being dramatic, so I let everything slide. So there's the history on Jace. Jace recently started bringing his girlfriend Rachel, she, her, around since they started dating a few months ago. Rachel is where I'm really torn. At first, she kind of weirded me out because she's one that gets really overly involved with people really fast. Think asking you really personal questions and stalking online and remembering every tiny detail about you to make you feel as if you are really close and special. She acts as if she's intimately close with people she's just met, and it's always struck me as a little odd. In the beginning, though, I always brushed it off as a cute quirk. However, now that quirk, or lack thereof in my case, is coming back to haunt me. Over the last few months, she and I have had a few really odd interactions. To start, we were hanging out at a gig that both our partners had together, and I asked if I could give her my phone number so she could send me a video she got of my partner playing on stage. She brushed me off, and I chalked it up to her just being busy in the moment and forgetting later. A few weeks later, though, we all went to a bar after another gig, and she spent the entire time talking about how close she and my boyfriend are. She kept showing us how they text all the time, and she knows all of his favorite emojis, was telling me about how he was going to get his haircut and the style that she recommended because she thought it would look so good. A ton of inside jokes were exchanged in addition to several references of her going very out of her way to do favors for my boyfriends. Additionally, in conversation, she snubbed me or ignored me several times when we were talking, intentionally leaving me out of the conversation, i.e. changing topics to things she knew that I knew nothing about, when we even discussed how I can't participate in conversations like that because I don't have any experience with it. Given how she gets super into people so quickly, it was really out of character and strange how cold she was to me. It rubbed me really weird, and I talked to Jack about it after that night out, and he said he didn't think anything of it. I admittedly blew it a little out of proportion with how uncomfortable I was in that situation, and things have been pretty tense talking about her since. Fast forward to today, Jack and I were on our way back from lunch, and he was on his phone the entire way home. I made a joking comment asking who he was texting, and he replied no one, and then turned his phone away from me. Instant alarm bells. I told him that I was joking when I first made the comment, but now I needed to know, and he told me it was Rachel. Apparently, she convinced him to start doing Wordle together every morning. Instant setting off of emotions. Side note, get your own boyfriend to do the Wordle with you. We had a long conversation, and basically he said he didn't see what the big deal was with him being friends with her, and I told him it's not that he's friends with her, it's that he's, one, hiding it from me, and two, I'm intentionally excluded by her all the time. If she and I were chill, then I wouldn't care. If he wasn't hiding it from me, I wouldn't care. But it's that every time I see her or we talk about her, I learn something new that they both have together. Whether it be haircut plans or Wordle or inside jokes, she's inserted herself into his life in such an intimate way with no effort to get to know me, his girlfriend. She regularly invites him over to hang out with herself and Jace and never invites me, never mentions me, never asks about me, never includes me. When I was hanging out with my best friend about it, she said it was weird because as a girl, she would always make an effort to invite her guy friend's partner or text her instead of him just to avoid any suspicion of infidelity. I have to admit, this is typically my MO too, so I don't understand the disconnect / intentionally leaving me out of things on her end. To be fair, Jack claims I have nothing to worry about with cheating, and I mostly believe him. Just the one thing holding me back is that she's so much more his type than I am, to a T. Also, they talk all the time, every day. I just feel like this is breeding ground for feelings to be developed, and he isn't seeing that. Every time Jack and I talk about it, it turns into a big thing, and I can't help but wonder what is so special about her and their 3-month friendship that makes him ignore the feelings of his 3-year girlfriend. Admittedly, I have some previous trauma that is helping with my triggered nervous system. My ex cheated on me for years, and I went through his text one suspicious night, good/bad idea, and found that he had been texting the guy he was cheating on me with for months, talking about how shitty and annoying I was, calling me the bitch, all of this horrific stuff that I see scrolling over my eyeballs when faced with this scenario. Now, every time I'm not invited to hang or I wonder what they're talking about, I just flash back to Jace ranting about me and Rachel hanging on my boyfriend's arm while telling me about how she asked every person in a bar if they had a cigarette for my boyfriend one night. I just don't understand why she's making such an effort to snub me and leave me out when she's so into my partner. I just feel like, where's the girl code? What happened to respect for relationships? How can I get my boyfriend to see things from my point of view? Am I blowing things out of proportion? Is she being weird? I want so desperately to be the chill girlfriend. I don't want to care who he's friends with. I don't want to have problems with his friends or be jealous seeing him laugh with another girl. I normally am chill. I've never been jealous of him, even when girls have been throwing themselves at him and telling him they'll keep it a secret from me. It has happened before, LOL. But also, those times he was so calm and cool with reassuring me, and with Rachel, he's secretive and avoidant. What is so different here that I'm triggered just hearing that they're doing the fucking Wordle together every morning? Basically, how do I move forward? Do I ignore it and make a bigger effort to befriend her? Do I give my boyfriend an ultimatum? Do I keep bringing it up and stressing and annoying my boyfriend because I'm jealous? A part of me just wants to go scorched earth and chew them all out for stressing me out and triggering the hell out of me. But realistically, I know that is not something that you would recommend. So what would you all do? I need advice from more sane/stable people than myself.
Well, you've come to the wrong place.
Absolutely. I was like, I don't know.
Just kidding, my darling. Thank you so much for trusting us with this very delicate letter. And honestly, I think the only reason why we can give you what I hope is helpful perspective on this is because we're not in it. I understand that this is triggering old wounds. It's triggering insecurities. It's triggering your nervous system. Like, you know, you're in defense mode and you don't want to lose something that's really important to you. So I get it. You're not crazy. You're not overreacting. And hopefully we can give you some perspective that helps you feel a little bit more grounded in how you move forward through this. But first, we're going to take a very, very quick break.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Thank you again, Jealous, for writing to us and for asking this question. You know, I'm really sorry that you're in kind of this tailspin about Rachel. And, you know, I think it's also tied to your experience with Jace as well. You know, I think it's really difficult to date somebody who's like, you know, good friend doesn't particularly like us. Like that is really challenging. And then adding into it this, you know, this experience that you're having with Rachel, who, you know, I will say, it's here and I might disagree about some of this. I will say that like, her behavior does seem weird. Like, it just seems like it feels strange that she isn't making an effort, a more active effort to like, at least be cordial to you, to like be friendly to you. And like I totally understand that the weird possessiveness over your boyfriend like feels off-putting when this person is also like not trying to make an effort with you, you know, right? Like, I think that sometimes like it is like, I can get jealous of the fact that like Peter has friends that aren't my friends, right? Like, where I'm like, why isn't this person making an effort with me? Or like, why are they so close? Like, that's weird. Like, I don't like that he has inside jokes with this person who isn't me, right? Like, I think that is absolutely a thing that can come up. But also, usually it's okay because when I actually like meet that person and interact with them, they're like kind to me, right? Like they like make an effort with me, right? And that's like assuages the jealousy. But it does feel weird that like I can totally understand how like all of these dots feel really connected around like Jace doesn't like you, so now he's like poisoning his new girlfriend about you. And even still, if that were the case, then like what is this weird possessiveness that she has over her relationship with your boyfriend that like it's just everything about this is just like, there's something that doesn't feel helpful or constructive about this. Like it strikes me as being like, this isn't just like a you need to calm down situation, which I think a lot of like our conversations about jealousy are, which is like, yes, like regulate your nervous system. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Like you're like something is coming up for you that's tied to the past. And you need to remind yourself like that this is different than what happened before, right? Like all of that stuff, right? Like, do you want to be in relationship with somebody who you can't trust? Like all of these different things. But I just like in this situation, so much about this situation feels like there's so many questions that I don't have answers to about why this person is behaving in this particular way, besides the fact that like she just doesn't seem to like you and like is using that dislike as, and also like being really weirdly possessive of your partner. Like it just feels competitive in ways that are like strange to me, like that don't make sense and that I would not also want in my life.
I'm not convinced that she's being possessive of the boyfriend. And let me rephrase this, or let me explain why, I guess. I have been the friend, in my 20s, I was predominantly friends with men. And one of my closest friends back then had a partner, and man, I just did not vibe with her. I didn't like her. I didn't like being around her. I felt like I couldn't spend time with my buddy. Like when she was around, I was easily annoyed by her, whatever. I was less mature back then, but truthfully, like it took me years of them being together for me to be like, all right, I need to invest in this person and invite her out and maybe hang out with her one-on-one. But it took me years, probably 2 years, maybe. And that's my bad, like just to call myself out on that. And the something that stood out to me in this letter was like, she's inserting herself in his life. And if this wasn't a woman who you had a theory that might be correct. I'm not even here to say she's not being weird. I'm just here to offer some other ideas. If she wasn't making you feel threatened in your relationship, a new friendship that's going really well, that they feel really good about, I have a friend that I am texting almost every day, right? And she's a new friend. And because of the dynamic in our relationship or whatever, that's not like an abnormal thing. And also she's interested in meeting my wife and has like expressed kind feelings about her, whatever. So like, I understand there is something here, but what I'm going to propose is that it's unfortunately that she just doesn't like you. And is that palatable by any means? Absolutely not. Like doesn't feel good, and it's not mature. You're right. Talk about the girl code. Like, let's take gender out of it, because there's also like another thing that I struggle with these dynamics is there's so much like gendered conditioning around quote girl code and how we're supposed to act around people who are the opposite sex of us or whatever in heteronormative groups. And it's like, if we took gender out of this, what would it look like? You know what I mean? Is she just being a shitty friend, or is she just really into this new friend and not in, I don't know. Does that make sense? It's possible she doesn't like you and doesn't want to sleep with your boyfriend. It's possible that she's not a good, like me in my 20s. It's possible that she was kind of she's a self-absorbed asshole who doesn't know how to be welcoming in a group setting. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'm like less concerned about the cheating aspect. Like, I don't think she's like out here to try and steal your man, right? But I also like the example that you gave, I think is important, but it is also a different situation because it was that your good friend started dating someone you didn't like, which is like a very different thing than like.
No, you're really right.
Your boyfriend's friend's girlfriend doesn't like you and is like now spending a lot of time with your boyfriend. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah. No, you're right. And I remember that is like a mixed example too, because I remember feeling like I did have to prove my closeness to my friend. Do you know what I mean? Like, look, he was my friend first.
For sure.
Like, this is how well I know him. Like, oh, we go back years. We're super tight. And so maybe she's feeling a similar weird, I don't know, like possessiveness. Yeah, she's just Sierra circa her 20s being real messy. I don't know. And you know what makes me hesitate to pick these letters sometimes is that like I have a deep fear that we're just wrong and that they're just boning and being mean to this person and I'm over here like, you just need to deal with your jealousy feelings. And please know, letter writer, I adore you. I'm rooting for you. And if you find out that these motherfuckers are cheating on you behind your back, I will key their cars with you. That's a DeMolder guarantee. Sam's worst nightmare, but I will do that.
Which means it's if it involves like having to leave the house, then that's probably a no.
Called out.
Okay. I'm honestly like not even concerned about the cheating piece of this, right? Like as somebody who like is like never concerned, it's just the weirdness of the situation and the fact that nobody seems to be seeing or supporting the fact that like this person is being unkind to you and nobody is doing anything about it. You know what I mean? Like that. And I think this is like, this is kind of a pattern that happens with your partner where it's like, apparently Jace was also like shit talking you for 2 hours and he didn't say anything about it. Right. And so now that like this pattern is repeating itself where you have this person who's like being weird to you. And I think your radar around this is not unfounded, that even like to Sierra's point, right? Like even in her story, Sierra was like, I was a dick. Like I was an asshole.
I was.
Right? Like, and that was absolutely true. Right. And so like this person is behaving to you in a shitty situation and your partner's like, it's not a big deal, which is like, okay, but it is, like the fact that you're not being backed up by your person and like your experience of Rachel is being denied by your partner, who is then like going out of his way to not tell you about his relationship with her because he doesn't want to upset you, which is again like what are we doing here? Like, why is this happening? Like, why can't we have an adult conversation about like how this is impacting you? And for him to be like, okay, well, how can I support you in developing a deeper relationship with her? Or like, oh, you're right, she is being kind of weird to you. Maybe I should pull back a little bit in my relationship with her, unless she like changes her tune and starts to be nicer to you. Like, like if that was happening, if Peter told me like, your friend, I don't like your friend because they're being mean to me, I would be like, this is something that I should be concerned about, right? Like I should pay attention to the fact that you seem to find this person really off-putting, not in a way of like, I'm going to get rid of this friend because, oh my God, you don't like them, but in a way of being like, oh, if this is your experience of them, is there something that I'm missing about them that I should be tapping into? Or is this like a conversation I need to have and be like, hey, Peter feels like you two haven't connected really a lot. Like, is there something that like could we get together and like hang out and like build some relationship so that he feels more included? Like that's what's weird about this to me. Like the cheating thing, whatever. Like, I don't know, maybe they're fucking. Like, I'm so bad at predicting when people are cheating on other people.
Honestly, I don't think they are. I don't think they are. Truthfully, so honestly, I chose this letter, y'all, because Sam, Sam sends me the first round of letters and then I pick the final round. And Sam wrote a little note that said, this all seems really fishy. And when I read it, I was like, it's not I didn't feel that way. So we don't know what we're talking about. Like we could be totally reading this wrong. I'll offer two different sides of the same coin, like nice side first. you wrote like, he's ignoring my feelings because in the past when people came up and flirted with him or like DM'd him or whatever you said, that they were like, let's have a secret side fling. And he showed it to you. He was like, yeah, see, here's one random person on the internet's interpretation of that. Yeah. Maybe he's reacting differently to you right now than the other girls because she is his friend. Because he's not getting those signals. He's not seeing her behavior as behavior that he needs to report to you to prove his trustworthiness. Mm-hmm. That is, if he is a trustworthy person, that does not account for whether or not either of them are assholes. You know what I mean? The other side of that coin is when I have brought something, an insecurity like this or a perception like this to my wife, she has been interested in helping me unravel it, right? She's been like, okay, well, I'm not going to not hang out with this person you feel threatened with, but I'd love to show you in a myriad of ways how this isn't what you think it is. And maybe we can slowly shift your thinking about this person, or maybe let's make more time together or whatever. Sam's right. Like, what needs to shift here is that your partner of 3 years is making you feel ignored in your feelings about this. And the last shitty thing I'll say, the last weird suck it up about your feelings thing I'll say, which I don't know where this comes from in me. I'm like the most empathetic person. And then I see someone having an emotional response and I think to myself, Sierra, you need to repress your feelings and therefore other people.
You just don't like the letters that are like a mirror because then you're like, yes, suck it up, bitch. Like
honestly, that is it. That is, I acted so poorly in my 20s and I learned so much in my early 30s, and that sometimes I truly do feel like I'm hard on listeners because it's a mirror where I'm like, you know what, 25-year-old Sierra, like you were really taking advantage of those people and you weren't generous and you weren't kind and you overreacted and you were super jealous for no reason, so I'm for real. What I'm trying to say, letter writer, is that I am definitely, what's that word?
Projecting.
Thank you.
That was a really good hand motion to let me know what you meant.
Projecting. I'm definitely projecting right now. So please know from the bottom of my heart that I trust you and your perception of this relationship and this dynamic because you are in it. I am responding to through my lens of the world. I forgot the point I was making like 45 minutes ago. But what should be happening here is that your partner of 3 years should be helping you tackle this discomfort.
Yes.
Right? You don't necessarily need to assume that because they have these inside jokes and these shared rituals of Wordle or whatever, that is not inserting herself into his life in a ownership way. That could be, in some realm of the world, just a way to build intimacy in friendships, right? Like Spencer and I have little practices of creating a relationship. Do you know what I mean?
Did you say Spencer and you have?
Yeah. Like Spencer and I.
Oh.
Like Spencer, our producer?
Yeah, no, I just like, okay, great.
You're like, I'm right here. Is that what you mean?
I think I missed like a thing because I was like, you're not dating Spencer. Why are you talking about you're like building relationship with them?
I thought you were like, I'm right here, Sierra. Like,
no, like
what are
literally
you talking about?
just like
I was talking about
building
the
friendship.
jump was.
Got it. Okay.
Yes. There you go.
Okay.
There you go. Sorry.
I think I like spaced out for
Our
a second.
Producer, do you know him?
Thought you were still talking about Willow.
Yeah.
And I was like, did you just call Willow Spencer?
See? And now all of you should just wonder, like, what's going on?
Yeah, what is going on between you and Spencer?
Well, we're getting mani-pedis for his birthday.
Absolutely. You're going to a WNBA game.
8:30 p.m. WNBA game. How do you think I'm going to handle that?
It's not going to go well.
I'm going to be so sleepy.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to be drunk. Okay,
and it's going to
anyway.
be 8:30 our time, which is 9:30 your time.
I have already done the math, girl. I have already done the math. I'm going to be ordering a coffee with dessert.
Okay, continue. I will stop reacting.
That's my fucking point, is that like, I feel so torn because I'm out here being like, yeah, this woman, she's not making moves on your man. And like, this is how we build friendships in a genderless perspective. And then like 2 weeks later, we're going to find out that she is
100%.
Like
she's going to like send him a text that's like, let's do it on the side and I won't tell you anything.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, I think here's what I would say. Like, imagine how it would feel if instead of your partner saying, this isn't a big deal, get over it, he was like, I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. I'm so sorry that she's ignoring you and it feels like she's snubbing you all the time, right? Like, it must be really hard for you to be in space with her when she's spent like pouring a lot of energy into me and Jace and she's not paying any attention to you. I've seen that pattern too. Right. Like, and I don't think that there's anything wrong. I don't think that there's like, I don't know that this is fixable for us. Right. Because like my relationship with Jace is important to me and therefore she's going to be part of it as his girlfriend. But I want you to know that like, I see what's happening here and I agree with you that I don't think it's super good for you. Right. And like, and I'm also thinking about that in my relationship with her, right? Like I'm going to put up a little bit more of a guard with her until she starts behaving differently towards you, right? Like imagine how that would feel. Like it would like,
well,
then,
let me tell you how I feel right now. Like a huge asshole. Because
you'd be like, oh God, I expressed a need and somebody met it. What a nightmare.
No. I'm telling you right now in this moment in my Sierra de Mulder body, I feel like an asshole for everything that I've said up until this point in the episode because we should have just led with that. And I'm over here like, listen.
We needed to arrive at it. We needed to percolate, you know?
Listen, letter writer, my darling. I trust you. Trust Sam more than me. I'm just trying to offer you perspectives on how this is not her wanting your man and it's actually just her being a bad friend.
Yeah,
like
for
she's
sure.
being a shitty person to you.
Or wanting your man. Who knows? We don't know anyone.
Right. But your feelings, your reactions will be much easier to settle or understand or process through if you have the support of your partner. You know, if you if you feel seen in what your experience is. I literally, every time I have like a little fit or whatever, whenever I have reactions to things, I'll be like, oh, well, this is just how I feel. And my wife will always say, like, your feelings matter. Your feelings matter in addition to what is actually happening. And that's what needs to happen here. So I apologize for literally everything I've said up until this point in this episode. Yeah.
I love it.
I'm feeling remorse. Okay. We're learning in real time here, people.
Always. We don't do any prep for these episodes, so we come to our conclusions as we are saying them.
You know what it is, though? It's the projecting that I'm doing, too, because I know that when I was younger, I would overreact, and I was really jealous and insecure, and I had a lot of internalized sexist beliefs about women and the ability to have co-ed friendships. And then like I grow up and I have like all co-ed friendships or, I mean, whatever, you know what I mean? Man, that's a weird word.
It is a weird word. Yeah.
To talk about people's like bodies. Like what, man, gender is so weird.
Anyway.
This is just spiraling. We should end it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jealous. We see you and hear you. We think that this person is behaving badly towards you, and we believe that it's having an emotional impact on you that needs time and space, that needs to be seen and addressed by the person in your life whose literal role it is to see and address the feelings that you're experiencing, right? Not fix them for you, right? Not make it his job, but to actually say like this, I see that this is happening and I believe you that it hurts you, right? And Steer and I want you to know that we see that this is happening and that we know that it's hurting you and that you deserve to have meaningful relationships and friendships in your life that are fulfilling and sustaining for you. And maybe talking to your boyfriend about how this is landing on you can help him understand that he can and should be more supportive of how to help you navigate through this situation.
Yeah. And if Spencer, if you could just take that clip and copy and paste it over everything that I've said this episode, we love you. And we
love you
helps.
so much. Absolutely. All right, everyone. Thank you
I hate
myself. No, don't hate yourself.
Continue.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening. If you would like more content from us, or if you would like access to our monthly office hours, you can support us on Patreon. If you support us on Patreon for as little as $5 a month, you'll get an additional bonus weekly episode and access to our office hours, which is when Sierra and I hop on Zoom with anyone who subscribes to our Patreon who wants to be there. And we do a check-in and we answer people's questions in real time. And it's super fun. So you should check it out. That's patreon.com/justbreakuppod.
You can slide into our DMs, send us your favorite relationship memes, but most importantly, you can submit your questions about all matters of the heart at justbreakuppod.com, which is also where you can find our merchandise.
Please remember to like, follow, subscribe, give us a 5-star rating and review. This literally keeps our mics on and helps us reach more brokenhearted souls who need 2 random strangers giving them relationship advice. Just Break Up is a production of Duvid Media, original music recording, editing, producing, all magical things by our good friend Spencer Worth Davis. Make sure to check out his podcast and his music. And remember, listen, sometimes Sierra has bad ideas. I'm just kidding. No. This is what I want to say. Sometimes we have emotional reactions to things. And our emotional reactions are hard to interpret. It's hard to figure out what is real and what is a reaction, what is, credible and what is based on a 10-year-old wound, right? Regardless, we are all deserving of support, encouragement, love, compassion, understanding, especially from the people who are walking this path with us, right? Especially from our partners. So no matter what our feelings are, it's easier to work through them with the love and support of those around us. So I hope you feel supported by at least Sam. And if all else fails, just break up.